Welcome back to Critical Wade Theory. I'm Wade, and today I'm going to look at one of the latest flashpoints in the Middle East, the Israel Iran conflict, and the U.S. calculus under Donald Trump. It's a crisis teetering between escalation and uneasy restraint, with nuclear stakes, regional alliances, and high level contradictions. So, on day 7 of Israel's air campaign against Iran, Donald Trump stepped into the Situation Room not to declare war but to weigh it. My patience has already run out, he said, but then dodged when asked if the US would strike. He said, "You don't seriously think I'm going to answer that question?" So the tension is real. According to CNN, Trump's overriding fear is getting dragged into another long war. He likes to delay judgment, sometimes until the last possible second. He said, "I like to make the final decision 1 second before it's due." So I don't know if that instills confidence in you, but that's what he has said. Still, Israel is pressuring hard, and they're asking for U.S. bunker busters and B 2 bombers, hardware that only America can provide. So while world leaders are postured, missiles flew. Israel claimed strikes on Iranian military sites and nuclear infrastructure. Iran responded with ballistic missiles that hit Israeli cities like Beersheba. Israel's defenses intercepted most, but not all. And at the center of it all, a place called Fordow, Iran's heavily fortified uranium enrichment site, buried beneath 80 meters of rock near Qum. It's enriching uranium up to 60%, not quite weapons grade, but dangerously close, at least the US propagandists will warn you. Rather ironically, given that the United States is the only country to attack another with nuclear weapons. Seems like we should be the last place to finger wag at anyone regarding nukes, but that's just my opinion on it. I'm sure they're not going to pay attention to me over here. But Israel's ambassador said bluntly, only the US has the tools to destroy it. So they're trying to destroy this place that has been enriching uranium, and the ambassador warned the operation could take weeks, and if the US doesn't back them up, they fear all they have done is to awaken a sleeping giant, as the classic saying goes. You know, that's one of the ways of phrasing it. Another way would be that you walked into a hornet's nest or something like that, and the bomb, it's always a threat. So let's talk about Operation Midnight Hammer, as they called it. On June 22nd, U.S. B-2 bombers carrying massive 13,600 kilogram bunker busters hit Fordow, Natanz, and Isfahan. Trump declared, "We have completed our very successful attack. All planes are now outside of Iran or airspace." I said war space. My mistake, my mistake. I guess a bit of a Freudian slip. But anyway, Iran considered it as an act of war, understandably so. I mean, if you're attacking sites, it is basically an act of war. So the Supreme Leader Khamenei warned of irreparable damage, the kind no money can fix and no diplomacy can undo, that kind of talk. And yet, days later, the same Trump administration is said to have brokered a ceasefire scheduled to begin at 4 a.m. Tehran time, June 25th. So it's already old news. But Iran initially pushed back, but by the 24th, the uh, the Trump the Trump feller, he said Israel's not going to attack Iran. All planes will turn around and head home while doing a friendly plane wave to Iran. he says such weird things. Yes, that is a real quote. He actually said that. It's just a very strange way to phrase things. And it's an uneasy ceasefire. Missiles paused, but some damage was already done, of course. In Gaza and Tehran in southern Israel, civilian lives continue to pay the price of state driven military ambition. Amnesty International put it starkly, quote, civilians in both countries must not further pay the price of reckless military action, end quote. So this is textbook state violence. Sovereigns claim the right to security, but define it on their own terms through bombs and not ballots. Grassroots voices like, they're always sidelined. Palestinian civil rights, Iranian reformers, Israeli dissidents, they've been drowned out by the jets overhead, and perpetual peace becomes a myth replaced by perpetual militarism. So the question is, what comes next? Fordow still stands, damaged but not erased. Trump's dilemma isn't over. Keep in mind, it's a dilemma largely of his own creation. He authorized U.S. strikes, but insists he wants no entanglement. That line's already been crossed, however. Israel will most certainly push for more. Iran vows resistance, and global powers will be holding their breath. The next steps are probably going to be big, whatever their direction. So I guess it's a wait and see sort of thing. You can apply pressure on any of these sides that you so choose, and you can use whatever methods that you find best. But at the end of the day, it's a direction that no single person is going to have a say in. That there is a lot at stake, and in some ways, it's a good thing that no single person is going to be the deciding factor here. But that there are some people who have more power than others, and they will not be using that power wisely. So it is ultimately up to the people in these different countries, and of course, even outside of these countries, to apply whatever kind of pressure they can, and that could include everything from boycotts to just discussing these issues like I'm doing here and presenting the information to the public. And you could do a lot of other things. You can, of course, contact representatives if you so desire. You can have targeted boycotts, you could do protests, any number of things that you find appropriate. So that's it for today's episode. Again, I'm Wade, and stay sharp, stay skeptical, and I'll return with some updates on this issue probably in the future.